Hey, what's up, Shackhousers? How you guys doing? It's your boy Shackhouse here, doing something a little different for today. Instead of my usual boys recap that I've been doing for several weeks now, I'm gonna go back to my first love, Marvel Comics, specifically X-Men and mutant characters. So who are we gonna talk about today? Two characters that rarely ever get any play, if at all. I mean, I haven't seen them on YouTube anywhere, so I'm gonna be the first to talk about them. Who are they? Alpha Flight's Flashback and the Alliance of Evil's Timeshadow. Who? Flashback was an Alpha Flight villain. His real name is Gardner Monroe. His power? Flashback is a mutant with the ability to psionically summon what he calls future selves, versions of himself from various random instances in the future, ranging anywhere from seconds to years from now. His power reaches into the future to pull his body back into the present. Mind you, he cannot converse with his future selves or learn anything about their future from them. They're just mindless automatons with the present-day Flashback's mind imprinted over theirs, essentially acting as extensions of his will. He can manifest his future selves anywhere within his line of sight, even in midair. While in costume, Flashback tends to manifest future selves wearing a version of his own costume with a negative polarity on the color scheme. Although for some reason, this happened with his children as well too, only they were wearing customized suits at the time. And the reason why the polarization remains is unexplained. When the future selves are no longer needed, Flashback causes them to dematerialize right on the spot, and they apparently return to the future at the exact moment from which they came from. He stopped being a supervillain during a battle when one of his future selves was killed, which made him believe that at some point he will pull himself into the past to die. So he figured that if he gets rid of his costume, then there'd be no way he could actually use his power to pull one of his selves from the future. But what he failed to realize is that his future selves, they could be from the future of a multiversal timeline, not the regular 616 timeline that he occupies. Now, Timeshadow, he appeared 2 years later and has a similar ability, only he could do a little bit more. All we know about Timeshadow's backstory was that he was a U.S. Army soldier in Vietnam who got addicted to heroin while he was out there. When he was sent to an Army detox rehabilitation center, he met a fellow soldier there named Michael Nolan. Shaking hands with Nolan, who himself was a mutant with the power to boost other mutants' powers, caused Timeshadow's mutant power to manifest. But what is his power, though? Timeshadow is a 5-second time slider. What does that mean? Basically, his mutant power enables him to physically manifest himself anywhere within the probable space-time range of about 5 seconds. And as such, he's able to move about freely within the given area of space he could conceivably reach within 5 seconds. Thus, he can move from one location to another instantaneously, sliding from where he was now to anywhere he could have been within seconds later. This wasn't technically teleportation, as the blur or motion of images which accompanied his movement from one place to another suggested that he was still physically moving through space. Timeshadow could remain standing physically still and slide across the room in an instant, relocating to dodge attacks or block people from escaping. He could give the illusion of super speed, rapidly skipping forward through time and space so that he covered expansive distances in less than 1/5 of the time that it would normally take him to do so. But because of the nature of his power, he doesn't have to physically move for either of these. His body will just slide in a blur of multiple images to the new location that he wants to get to. Now, Timeshadow could also bend quantum probability with his power, taking multiple routes into the future simultaneously. This allowed him to create phase forms where he appeared to duplicate himself as he appeared in several locations that he could conceivably reach within 5 seconds all at once. It was unclear exactly how many divergent paths that he could take at once, or how long he could maintain these phase forms before collapsing his probabilities back into a single march towards the future. On one occasion, Timeshadow also demonstrated something of a vanishing power. This was apparently achieved by phasing out of sync with time altogether for up to 5 seconds, skipping forward in time by that exact amount of time. This happened when his phase forms had surrounded Jean Grey, and she unleashed a telekinetic blast in all directions to knock all of him over. But instead, all of Timeshadow vanished a moment before impact and rematerialized behind Jean a moment before the attack, catching her by surprise. Yeah, Timeshadow has not been seen since the 80s. I say bring him back to Krakoa and give the guy a real name. Even the artists and writers who came after Jonathan Hickman, they could follow his meticulousness and find some way to make his power useful, expand on it. But that's all I got for right now. I'm going to do 2 more obscure characters next week that have never been done on YouTube before. Who are they? I ain't going to tell you. You just have to tune in. Later.
Mansion, apartment.
Shack, house. Yes!
Yeah.